and welcome to Post Status Happiness Hour Live. Today, my guests are Natalie MacLees and Nathan Tyler from NSquared. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's so good to talk to you. I remember talking to Nathan about having you on the show, and then between the time we said that and the time I was supposed to bring you guys on board, I was like, wait, what are we talking about again? Because I completely lost track of our conversation. So thanks for bearing with me. But I'm so excited because let's just say that you guys are feeling a little sassy lately, meaning I'm going to lean into all the puns today. Because today we're talking about moving, not necessarily moving from, but incorporating SaaS products when you've been WordPress products this whole time, and what that looks like for a company. I think a lot of companies think about that and what would it look like to, you've been WordPress, you've been part of the WordPress ecosystem. What does that mean if we go SaaS and we, take things outside of the WordPress bubble and be the same, but more to more people, and what that looks like and how difficult that might be. So I'm excited to hear all of your experiences with that. And yeah, all of the things. So before we get started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, a little bit about yourself. I like to know where people are located because I think it's interesting. We get to talk to people all over the world, maybe how long you've been working in the WordPress ecosystem. And Natalie, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. All right. Great. So I'm Natalie MacLees. I have been working with WordPress since 2007. I am in Pasadena, California, home of the Rose Parade, if you watch that on New Year's Day. And founded NSquared with Nathan in 2014. So we've been working together for 11 years. We got a couple of plugins. I'll let him talk about those a little bit more. I've run an agency, done a little bit of everything.
And you're all in on accessibility as well, are you not?
I am, absolutely, yes.
I've seen some of your accessibility talks, so I always appreciate somebody who's also an accessible ally. So there you go. Yes. Nathan, over to you.
Sure. So I'm Nathan. I've been using WordPress also since 2007. Natalie and I met maybe around 2010, 2011 in the WordPress meetup space, and we both had agencies at the time. And then we started working together it was 11 years ago at a coffee shop. So we both were running our agencies, and we built our first plugin, which is Draw Attention. We carved out 4 hours a week, and we met on a tiny little table at the Coffee Bean and worked on our plugin 4 hours a week. And then over the course of like 5 or 6 years, went to full time incrementally from that 4 hours a week. And then we built Simply Schedule Appointments, which is kind of the more common, larger plugin, which is appointment scheduling for WordPress. We were both, at the time, Calendly users of a SaaS product. And we found that, there was some friction of putting that SaaS product and embedding it on the page. It had ugly iframe scroll bars and didn't really know whether the user was logged in. And it felt kind of clunky in a WordPress world. And so our goal at the time was just to build something as elegant as Calendly, but more WordPress native, integrated with the page builders, integrated with Gravity Forms and that sort of thing. So I think we kind of built our first plugin modeled after a SaaS, and now many years later we find ourselves going the other direction. There's trade-offs to both. But
I mean, the beauty of life is you're allowed to do differently than you did 10 years ago. So the ecosystem changes and tech changes and all of the things. Are you also in Pasadena or in the Pasadena area?
Yes. Yeah, I live 5 miles away from Natalie in Eagle Rock, just west of Pasadena. And we used to see each other once, twice, 3 times a week as we were working. And now we see each other about once a quarter. We meet. Yeah. we meet in between our houses.
It's a long 5 miles.
I was gonna say, I believe that y'all need some more coffee soon in your diet so that you can say hello a little more frequently. Yeah. I've often wondered, did you drink your weight in coffee? Did you pay for enough coffee to you should have just rented an office at that point in time, or?
It definitely felt like that. When we went from 4 hours a day to 8 hours, and that was a very long time to be at a Coffee Bean, and a lot of coffee.
For sure.
At the end of the day,
and a lot of looking over their glasses at you, like, how long are you going to take that table?
Yeah, we got to know the shift changes and all the folks that work there.
When you're giving Christmas cards to every employee, even though you don't work there, that's another story altogether.
Yeah.
So simply schedule appointments. That's how I got to know y'all, because back in the days of GiveWP before acquisition and all of that, we were using Simply Schedule to be able to schedule demos with customers who wanted to see how does this work even. And so I got to know the product really, really well. Loved the interface. Loved as a Fox, right? It was a Fox. Am I remembering? It's been a little while since I've seen it. And it was just a beautiful integration. I loved how easy it was to set up appointments, and I've used it on different websites since then. And when you said you were moving into SaaS, I was like, ooh, this could be really interesting. Is it the same product? Is it scheduling products, or what are you doing with SaaS?
No, so we aren't moving Simply Schedule to SaaS because there's already a few established competitors. You might have heard of a little company called Calendly, right? And as soon
I
as
might use it sometimes, yeah.
There are products like in WordPress whose main benefit, and that was the thesis when we started it, was build it in WordPress. And if you take that back to SaaS, then you don't really have any competitive advantage. Right now, we're integrated nicely with the page builders and the authorization system of WordPress. And if you're running an online course or anything, like there's a lot of benefits that are better than Calendly. But if we made it a SaaS version, we'd have 100 competitors that we don't really have any improvement on. Yeah.
So tell us about the products that you are building in SaaS then. And are they also backward compatible with WordPress?
Yeah, so both of them have WordPress plugins and are well integrated with WordPress. And obviously, we're still very involved in that community. So we're not leaving all that behind, but the products themselves are SaaS. And some problems are better served by SaaS. There's different trade-offs of if you need something that has a lot of data or a lot of scalability issues, right? Trying to make a WordPress plugin that works on every server and version of PHP in the world is a different kind of challenge. And there's some problems that just really don't work well that way. Sure. And if you build a SaaS platform, you can make architectural choices that give you a lot more options. You can deliver a better experience.
So you mentioned 2 SaaS products. What are they? Don't keep us in suspense. Tell us more.
Natalie, why don't you talk about Aaardvark?
Shall I bring it up on screen at the same time, Natalie?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's our Aaardvark homepage. So Aaardvark is a platform that helps you do everything that you need to get a website to be accessible. So we combine both automated and manual testing all together in one platform, have a nice list of issues for you available, and then walk you through how to fix them. And I'll flip over to a different tab here. So we do have a visual mode that lets you see exactly where the accessibility issues are on the page, which is really helpful because I've done a lot of audits over the years where developers say they have no idea what I'm talking about. Where is this? So they can't say that anymore. And then we have all the details about each of the sites, all the different issues that are there. And if we go into the issues, we walk you through how to fix each one of them so you can understand exactly what's wrong and how to fix it. So everything you need end to end. There's a WordPress plugin available, and we have lots of nice features for getting your website to be accessible.
Very nice. And so it's looking at, not to do too deep a dive into accessibility, but I'm assuming it's looking at everything from contrast to form labels to link labeling and alt text and all of the things, correct?
Yes, exactly. All of those things.
I was having a conversation, I can't remember who it was with, I think it was last week or the week before, about how back before I knew any better, so I will say it that way, before I knew any better, when I was first starting to use WordPress, H tags were just font sizes to me, and I had no idea that they actually had a role other than, oh, that one's bigger than that one. And so once you do better. But having having a service like Aaardvark is one of those things that helps you understand that much sooner than than perhaps I knew. And I am talking early 2010s, and so I could be a little
Sure.
forgiven, but
Of course.
Yeah.
That's where we all get started.
I don't do it now, but yeah. For sure. So how does it work? How does somebody, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, I was just going to say we've had a lot of fun building it because I think part of this has been Natalie's pipe dream that's been on napkins and things in her mind for years, like the tool that she always wishes that she had when she was doing audits and doing, professional accessibility work instead of spreadsheets. But also from my perspective, I'm a technical person, I'm a developer. I want to do better, but I often don't know what to do, or I don't understand what the issue is exactly, or I may understand the issue, but I don't know, like, technically, how do I fix it? And so, Natalie and I have had kind of fun building this product because in one way I'm really the ideal customer, and it's because she knows too much in some areas.
I was going to say she's not, right? She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and there's lots of web developers who want to do better, and it's similar to, there's things that are adjacent to the work that we do building websites for clients, like maybe I know a little bit about SEO and I learned a little bit about semantic data and some things so that I'm competent in SEO. I'm not an SEO like super professional, like if somebody wants that, I would make a recommendation, but I want to be competent and be building things that can be crawled by search engines. And it's the same thing with accessibility. It's increasingly important, and awareness is growing, and I want to know what to do about it, but I'm not going to become an accessibility professional. That's not going to be the only thing I do, and not every project can necessarily afford or warrant like bringing in somebody like Natalie to do a full teardown audit. But Aaardvark is a really nice solution for someone like me, where I can run an automated scan. I can have, I can report some manual issues. I can see it in a context, not with like 5 million lines of output, but I can actually see it on the page in the right spot. And it tells me, these are some of the recommended techniques for fixing it. And it kind of lets me get in and out without getting bogged down in it for too long. So, yeah, it's been an enjoyable process for us to kind of figure that out together.
That's very cool. And I noticed there's 3 A's in Aaardvark. Is there a particular reason? We just like it? It shows up at the top of every list.
Yeah, it's very alphabetical.
That was a side benefit, actually. Yeah, it's meant to reference the 3 A's for WCAG AAA compliance.
Yeah.
And accessibility people get it immediately. So they've always said like, oh, I really like the name.
Yeah.
And other people say, aren't there only 2 A's in Aaardvark, right?
Yeah. Don't you know how to spell? Or somebody has pronounced it Aaardvark instead of just Aaardvark.
Like just one. There's just one Aaardvark.
Yeah, just one.
Aaardvark. That's cute.
Yeah, whenever it gets too clever, yes. And when we were first talking, I was like, I don't even know if A is the highest level or if AAA is the highest level of compliance. So
I don't either.
That's interesting.
Turns out AAA is the most compliant. So
AAA is the most compliant. Yeah,
it's backwards from baseball. It's like AAA is like lower, but so you gotta get out of the sports arena and back into the rest of the world, right? Remember the old phone books? It goes by the old phone books. Was the more A's you had, the higher up you ranked on the page alphabetically. And for everybody who's watching who doesn't remember a phone book, Google is your friend. Anyway, so how does it work as a SaaS product? Can SaaS products be applied to WordPress, or should I still use the Aaardvark plugin if I have a WordPress website?
Yeah, so it'll work with any type of website. You basically would just come in here and you can add a new site, and it just works off of your URL. So you just put in the address of your site. And the benefit that you get when you use the WordPress plugin is that these reports that you see, like when we go to the site dashboard, those all end up in your dashboard. So you can see your list of issues, and you can run scans and see your history. Like we can see our history over time. All of that is available in your dashboard. Okay. So that's the benefit of using it, using the WordPress plugin. Is that you don't have to separately come over to Aaardvark to log in. It's all handy right there where you log in every day.
Very cool. Does I don't know with accessibility language. Are there polyglot issues with things like accessibility and how Aardvark works on non-English websites?
So we have a challenge right now with multilingual websites, which is we're building our first AI feature that will check color contrast for you. So automated checkers can't check your color contrast if you've used a background image or a background gradient, or you have opacity or things like that. And so we are working on our first AI feature, which will take a screenshot, recognize the text, sample the background all around each letter, and make sure that each letter has sufficient contrast to pass. And of course, in order for AI to be able to recognize that text, it has to know the language. So that's the challenge that we're solving right now. But other than that, there's no extra challenges with other languages. But as soon as we get those languages figured out, we'll have that AI feature out for everybody.
That makes perfect sense. Absolutely. And you're right. Sometimes, like with a gradient, right? Like the first half of a word is great, but the second half of the word disappears because you've gradiated too, if that's a word, graded it too light behind a light background or things like that, which does make it somewhat challenging. I did notice on my phone screen that I have a picture of a frog that I took, and the time knows to grade itself differently across. So if there's a dark color behind it, it's light, and it reverses itself. And I just noticed it yesterday. I was like, wonder how long it's been doing that. That's pretty cool. But I could see how it could be challenging, though, especially on websites and things like that. And here's a question I've never asked before either. And I should know these things because I am on the WordPress Accessibility Day marketing team, but I don't know everything, and I'm 100% the person who'll say I don't know everything. But dark mode versus light mode, how are you able to test? Because so many sites now do that, right? Have dark mode versus light mode. Can you test for both? Does it test for both separately? Like, how does that work?
I don't think we've come across that case just yet. If there are separate URLs for the modes, which there probably is not, we could use those. But otherwise, that is probably a feature that we will need to figure out.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Feel free to take that and run with
it. It would work in the visual mode, the manual testing, but not probably the automated scanner unless there's a URL that would pick it up.
Yeah, we'd have to find a way to pass the mode to the scanner, which I'm sure we can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I never use dark mode because my eyes don't like light text on a dark background, but I can see how other people do appreciate it. As a matter of fact, I just tweeted yesterday, I saw one logo, and a lot of logos have transparent backgrounds, but I saw one logo that absolutely looked horrific in dark mode because of how part of it just disappeared, and the rest of it that didn't disappear looked very ominous without the whole thing there. And so I tweeted, like, have you checked your logo in dark mode? Because some of you haven't, and it shows. These are the little challenges we find as we're looking at things, right? So for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love Aardvark. I love the fact that accessibility is so important. I like to tell people do accessibility because it's the right thing to do. If you don't want to do it because it's the right thing to do it because it's better for your sales. And if you don't even care about that, do it because Google will be happier with you. Like, there are 3 reasons that go from altruistic to less so that will still make it that you want your site to be accessible.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but you said 2. So other than Aardvark, what's your other SaaS product you're working on?
So our other product is Blink Metrics, which is an area that's near and dear to my heart, which is, most small businesses, are all strapped for time. We all are trying to make better decisions. We're trying to allocate our time the best way we can, but very few of us actually use data. Like, of course, big companies have business intelligence teams and data warehouses and a lot of this stuff figured out. And that's a lot of what I built out in my agency days. But most small businesses are sitting on mountains of data, really. Like in your Calendly account, you have 50 appointments and everything that are booked. And in your QuickBooks Online, you have other data. And in your Stripe account, you have other data. And your WordPress site, you have your Gravity Form submissions. And in Google Analytics, right, you have data all over the place. And you have a CRM and you have a help desk and Asana and Monday.com, your project management. There's data everywhere, but it's so siloed and spread out that it's hard to really make any sense of it. Or maybe you have some saved reports in these individual tools, but there's no holistic view of it. And some of it you just don't get around to looking at all that often because it's just overwhelming and you get lost. And so Blink Metrics, solves that and brings it all into one place, so that it's not overwhelming. You can focus on what matters, and small businesses have access to those high-end tools that large businesses use to make decisions and have data at their fingertips without all of the overwhelming complexity of doing that. So I can pull that up actually.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, so the way that we do that, right, is that we pull all the data from all of the silos that it lives in, and we pull it into one centralized data warehouse where everything is stored very granularly, which means we can report on it any way that we need. So typically that comes in as a scorecard and as an interactive report or dashboard. So the scorecard that's what most small businesses are doing. If they start to get organized, they probably have a Google Sheet, and once a month they copy paste numbers from these different places into a Google Sheet to try to get a sense of what's going on in the business. Maybe they have a dozen Zapier Zaps that are copy pasting things over, and they have cover sheets, and you can kind of build this house of cards that tries to solve for this, and sometimes that comes tumbling down, and then somebody has to figure it out.
It ends up looking like my stack of papers next to my desk. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. But that is what a lot of businesses do, and that's what Natalie and I were doing when we were running a few different lines of business. We would have a Google Sheet and we were updating it. But this is something that happens automatically, so you can look at it like this is what a scorecard would look like, and you can see you can see it over any time frame. So you can see weekly, monthly, quarterly, and you can see numbers from all over the business. Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Google Core Web Vitals, Gravity Form submissions, meetings, Calendly, events that got booked. You can kind of see your whole business from top to bottom, wherever those numbers are coming from that you trust, right? And you can see graphs and trend lines. You can set an explicit goal or just take the average, but you can kind of see at a glance, green or red, are things moving in the right direction? Are they on track? Are they off track? And any of these numbers, you can click and go right to the source it came from. It can go right to Google Analytics, right to May 1st to 31st. So you can go confirm that number and go look into it. So that's in a nutshell, that's what we're doing with the scorecard and with Blink Metrics.
That's very cool. I like the various shades too. So I'm guessing deep red is really not good. Lighter red, we're getting there. Pink is borderline. So.
Yes. And in true accessibility fashion, we have other color schemes because red and green are not accessible to everyone. So we have a variety of color schemes that you can choose from.
That makes sense.
Or you can switch to icons.
That's right.
Oh, that makes sense. Yep. And for anybody who's blind or visually impaired enough, I'm sure that your screen reader is also following through this the way that you'd want it to, because I can't imagine Natalie presenting anything other than accessibility in a tool. But I'm not going to ask how it works in dark mode, so you're good.
Neither Aaardvark or Blink have a dark mode right now, but
that's right. So you're good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What are your goals? How are you market? I know how we market things. I'm sorry. Were you going to show me something else? I just interrupted you.
No. I was just going to say this is an example of something that you cannot do in a WordPress plugin model. The amount of data and reporting and scalability around it.
Right.
There are some problems that you're solving. You have to build a SaaS platform.
Absolutely. I mean, we have HubSpot, we have things that we use. And yes, there are some things that work similarly in WordPress, but there are some things that just don't, right? Our social media accounts are not within our websites. Those are something that exists on the outside. So it makes sense that you would have something that would collect data from all of those places. Yeah. Marketing within WordPress and marketing outside to the larger tech community are two different beasts altogether. Definitely. How do you tackle that? So obviously Aaardvark can work within and without, outside of WordPress. Blink Metrics looks like it's just outside of WordPress. It's a dashboard that's within your Blink Metrics account. How are you tackling like the big bad world of outside of WordPress and to get attention to that as far as marketing?
Yeah, with Blink Metrics, it's fully outside of WordPress, but it uses WordPress as a data source. So there's a lot of critical data like Gravity Form submissions, WooCommerce orders, easy digital downloads. Lots of good data inside of WordPress that you want to report on, but it lives outside, and that is a challenge, right? Like there's trade-offs of SaaS versus WordPress, and that's definitely one of them. With WordPress, you can put something in WordPress.org and millions of people are going to visit that every month and hopefully search for a keyword related to your thing, and they're going to install the free version, and some of those will turn into customers or they'll land on your website. We can build amazing things with Blink Metrics and Aaardvark, but by default, nobody is going to show up to those websites without a bunch of work to get them there. So it's very different to to tackle, for sure.
Yeah, I like to say, if you build it, they will come. Only works in the movies. We really have to hustle to get it to work, to get people to show up to our products and our projects outside of that, for sure. What do you want people who are watching, or people who might watch this podcast later, what do we want them to know, and how do we want them to find you and all of the things? Give me some more information about how people would would find and use and implement and all the things.
Natalie, you want to talk about Aaardvark?
Yeah, sure. So Aaardvark has a very handy short URL of a20y.com.
Love it.
So very, very easy to share. You can head on over there, check it out. It is free to add just your homepage and get a scan of your homepage, and you can try out the manual testing tools. You get full access to the platform for just your homepage. So you could definitely give it a try there. We're also launching our Aaardvark Circle very soon, which will be for freelancers, agencies, designers, UX professionals, anybody who's working on building websites and applications who isn't quite sure about how to do accessibility. So it'll be a group, a learning group for those folks. And that's a big banner right across the homepage. You can check it out.
Can't miss it.
Yep, can't miss it. Give it a try.
That's a nice formal version of what we used to do, because I couldn't hire Natalie to come in and do a full audit on all the projects, but I could send her a message and be like, hey, should I do this? And she'd be like, no, that's terribly wrong. This is how you do it. And just point me in the right direction and send me a couple links. And that's a lot of times what you need. And this is a very formal setup and structure for somebody to build and community to be able to come in and get those answers that they need.
Nice. And so for people who want to learn more about Blink Metrics, is there a free version? Is it all paid? How are they finding and using that service?
Yeah, so it's at blinkmetrics.com, and you can book a time, which is me at this point. So if you book a time on the site, you will be talking to me. And we usually spend half hour just talking about somebody's business, the different tools they're using, how they understand if business is going well, helping them identify, maybe they don't know what to measure. They're sitting on all this data, but it's all kind of just a mess. So we can kind of talk through that. We have some templates and so forth. You'll definitely come out of that conversation with a little bit more clarity on how to look at your business objectively and through data. And some people say, okay, I need some time to kind of think about that, and maybe I'll do it in a Google Sheet for a couple months and get more comfortable with it. And they walk away with that, which is great. Or maybe they are a fit for Blink Metrics. They do want to automate it. Maybe they have team members that they want to have scorecards and reports, and for different parts of the business and everything. It is a paid platform. We do have money back guarantees and whatnot, but it is we are spinning up dedicated resources in the cloud to like warehouse the data and report on it. So we don't have a free plan for Blink Metrics just due to the cost structure.
Makes sense to me. I don't propose that everything should be free. So I think that we need to be able to make money, and especially when something is resource heavy, we need to be able to charge people for those services. Now I have just the one banner here. If you do go to NSquared.io and click products, I think it was, I looked there, you will see both of these things there. Is Simply Schedule Appointments still a thing as well? Are we still using
that? Oh, yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Well, I thought so, but
that's
I wanted to make sure.
9 years old, and it's on 60,000 websites with very active, dedicated support team. We're releasing updates every week or two still. So we have dedicated resources on Simply Schedule Appointments and continue to release fixes. We have a couple cool integrations and things coming in the future too.
Yep, and I see you still are supporting Draw Attention and Simple Client Dashboard as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So, man, you guys don't rest. You're not sitting on your laurels. You're getting stuff done, moving forward all the time. I love it. That's awesome. Fantastic. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you're like, gosh, I still want to say this one thing or this two things or five, whatever, how many? Make sure I'm not cutting you off before we say goodbye today.
No, I think the grass is always greener. WordPress people want to build SaaS stuff, and SaaS people want to build WordPress stuff. I think there's definitely trade-offs to both. Yeah.
There used to be a stigma, really, too, right? That if you tried to build something outside of WordPress, it was like, how dare you? Why would you do that? Why would you lean into, why would you help people on Shopify, or why would you help people on Wix? But really, building platforms like what you've developed here, first of all, Aaardvark is going to help the whole internet be better for accessibility. You don't have to be on WordPress for that. And Blink Metrics just makes sense because it's not all within WordPress. And so I think there's no, I'm using X and I'm using LinkedIn every day as well. Everything doesn't live inside WordPress. So to those people, I would say, get over yourself. It's all good. It's all good. I am a huge proponent of WordPress. We all know how much I love WordPress, but everything doesn't exist within WordPress. And so we have to exist within the world too. And I think that's great. So thank you for creating some pretty cool stuff. I love it. I'm going to take a closer look at both of them very soon. So again, if people have want to know more information, want to see things, just go to NSquared.io. You can get an appointment with Nathan so that you can see what's going on and get a little bit of a demo on that. And you can try out the products over there. So I want to thank you both for spending some time with me today and give up part of your day so that we can explore some of what you're doing to make the WordPress system and the outside of WordPress system a little bit better. So thank you both, Natalie and Nathan, for spending time with me today. Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. There will be no podcast next week. I'm taking a week off. I'm going to give myself a day where I don't have to be on screen all the time. And but we'll return the week after that, and I will let everybody know who's going to be my guest at that point in time because I didn't check the calendar. I don't remember, but we'll know a little bit closer to then. So, Natalie, Nathan, thank you for your time today. We'll see everybody next time.
All right.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.